Welcome back to Recruitment Funding, now 10 instead of 5. Seems a bit more realistic, although it's not always totally 10 minutes. I hope you enjoy it. Got Simon Olian from Zodeq today. I'll let him introduce himself and enjoy. Welcome. Give us 30 seconds on you, a little bit on Zodeq, and we'll dive into them questions.
Brilliant. Hi, Simon. Yeah, I'm Simon Holian, the sales director at Zodeq. I have a national role to promote our services predominantly to recruitment agencies. But
you deal a lot in recruitment, don't you? So your book, 50%, 60% is recruitment only businesses?
We're up at about 70% actually.
Wow,
recruitment agencies. Yeah, so it's a real specialism of ours. We offer kind of a range to them, but we do other sectors as well. And Zodeq is kind of a standalone with some invoice finance and some recruitment experience in the team. So we lend ourselves to that sector.
You do pay and bill funding, but you also do factoring and invoice discounting, don't you? So you do quite a big mixed bag.
We do. So there's a real flexibility in terms of the service and the solution that we can give to the recruitment agencies and also other businesses that we support.
And you're back how many years in IF? I always ask people this and it gets a bit cringe because I was counting how many years it was for me the other day. But
yeah, I'm coming up on 10 years actually.
Wow, same as me.
So, yeah, so I've done I think 8.5, 9 years as invoice finance, and the last year pay and bill.
Yeah.
As well as the straightforward invoice finance.
Yeah, it flies, doesn't it? Time flies, doesn't it? So look, quality. We'll jump in. I've got 2 questions for you. I think you've got one for me. As I say every time, this will probably turn into 25 minutes. But yeah, hopefully we can really get to the core of some of these details, because it's quite nice to have you on, because you're the first that sort of specialist quite heavily in the pay and bill side of things. So it's interesting to see it from that sort of that side of things. So my first question to you, which I've dropped across to you already, but COVID-19, try not to focus on it constantly, but I think it's really interesting for recruitment businesses to find out how things are changing or adapting slightly with lenders. So what have been for Zodeq, I guess, the major operational challenges of pay and bill funding since COVID started? So I guess furlough, payroll, timesheets, deadlines. Yeah, I'm sure there's loads, but it's interesting to sort of find that out.
Sure. And you know, really good question, because there's so many moving parts to a payroll.
Yeah.
I think looking back at it now, it's amazing how businesses have adapted, and you know, we're no different at Zodeq. I think the great thing about running payroll now is so much of it is online. So the way that it's processed is all, you know, it's all email, it's online. The big change is actually the teams that run the payroll, and there's maybe 10 people being together. And all of a sudden having to be remote, you don't quite have the same flow of communication.
The credit controller talking to the payroller on the desk next door that's having an issue with this, and moving into, I get it. Yeah, and that's kind of why the full solution works really quite well, is because it's very incubated, and the whole team, there's a number of different people part of the payroll process, but they're all communicating together. And exactly.
I mean, we've got a real close, strong team within Zodeq that process the payroll, and actually we were slightly quicker than the government recommendations in actually trialing a couple of weeks of running a payroll remotely. Before the measures were actually enforced. So I mean, it's commonplace now. I mean, we're having this chat over Zoom.
Yeah, you're live from the Wirral and I'm down in South Wales. You've got a beach and I've got a field, and absolutely.
That's it. But I think as well for internal teams as well, particularly, you know, when they're doing operational processes, these lines of communication, while you can't be in the same room, you can still have a chat, whether it's on Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And that's been one of the biggest curves, I think, for us as a business is making sure those lines of communication are there. So people are all focused on delivering a weekly payroll.
And is it settled down now? Is it working? Is the payroll? Obviously, it's probably been working from the start, and I'm sure there were teething problems, but it's working as normal now, I guess. Have there been any considerable changes that's been had to make for the payroll? I guess the furlough and things like that. Is there many considerable changes?
Yeah, I think they've been almost sort of daily, weekly updates in terms of what kind of payroll changes there have been in terms of the government legislation. I think when it comes to our agencies, we take a very much admin back office nuts and bolts approach. So if our clients decide that they want to furlough a worker or they're eligible for statutory sick pay, we will absolutely process it for them. But it's all derived from their funding. So provided they've got the funds there to do so, we will definitely do it, or provided they've got them from the government.
Well, it sounds like you're all settled down and things are just normal. So yeah, it's good to hear. My question too, you offer factoring for recruitment businesses, you offer pay and bill for recruitment businesses. Where do you see the uptake currently? Okay, and what do you imagine the future? So recruitment businesses, the uptake of factoring or pay and bill, and has the uptake or the percentage changed since this situation? Again, I think this could be a question for 6 to 12 months time, but yeah, we'll see what it's like now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, no, I think it's a great question and something to look at as well. But certainly the last couple of months, I wouldn't say that there's been a tendency in one particular direction from businesses that are looking to raise the finance and also to include the payroll admin. What I would say, which is quite interesting, is I think that the flexibility is the important thing with recruitment agencies, having the flexibility to perhaps outsource that payroll. Maybe, we're going to be working in different ways when we're out of the pandemic, and people might not want to work in an office and have an in-house payroll team that they manage. It might want to be something that they outsource, or
because they're more virtual and they're working from home and haven't got the cost of that makes perfect sense. So the actual uptake is, from what you're saying, is very similar to what it was. No real change, but where the change will happen is probably in the future, where businesses sort of start to change the way that they run and the way that they run their business on a day-to-day.
And I think that only time's going to tell the next weeks, months, as to how businesses decide to redeploy after the pandemic. And if people are more fragmented and they want to sort of outsource more, then I could definitely see a case for more back office requirements, but also just the funding only and keeping it in-house. We're still seeing plenty of businesses on that.
I really didn't look at it like that. It's really got me thinking. That is a really good point, that if people become more agile and people start to work from home more, is it going to be more feasible for people to run an outsourced payroll as opposed to in-house, or will they keep it the same? If they've got payroll there already, then running themselves, maybe they keep it the same. Let's catch up 6 months. I'm going to put it in the diary now, because try and track those stats for me, because it'd be really interesting to see, and I'm sure loads of recruitment would be interested in what other people are doing as well. So
we're interested too. I think it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see if your question to me is also the same, and we can review that in 6 months as well. And we're just, it just seems to be going slow.
It is. Well, that leads me nicely on. I know that we talked about businesses adapting.
Mm-hmm.
So the question that I had for you was, your existing clients, how are they adapting to what's going on out there with the pandemic and the coronavirus impact?
Yeah, adapting. So from adapting, do you mean from a processing of their business, or from the way that they're running it, or the uplift or downturn in turnover?
Yeah, just
generally,
anything really where you could see that there being a trend, if there is any, or most businesses just going remote and then
So sector is pretty self-explanatory, and I think most people have seen it. We've seen uptake in the logistics and industrial market, the healthcare market in certain sectors, but not in all sectors. We were talking about that earlier briefly. And from a point of view of streamlining, obviously everyone's working from home. I think you touched on it quite a lot earlier. No real process changes. I spoke to someone the other week. Nothing's really changed. Payrolls are still being run. The volumes are significantly down for most temp recruitment businesses, but some obviously are increasing. And the clients seem to be, from, I guess we're right at the end of May as we record this, because I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to edit and get it online. But I think the last 2 to 3 weeks, my actual live clients, they just seem much more positive. People are ready to go, and people are seeing that increase again, and their jobs are coming back on, and the temporary roles are ready to fill. We had a call this morning from an agency that's placed his first temp as a new start recruitment business, and he's over the world because he projected after all this it would be months and months and months. So things are taking progress and things are happening.
I think that's really great to hear as well, because we're all keen to see markets start moving again and people get out to work, and that's good for recruitment, and it's good for the wider economy.
And I had a really
as well that you sort of mentioned key worker sectors, and perhaps your clients, do you think that they're diversifying some of them and looking to get into those sectors if they weren't supplying them already?
Yeah, definitely seeing businesses that are looking to jump into different sectors or different parts of different sectors. So, but not as much as you'd think. So, because obviously recruiters are so niche in what they do, and their skill sets are so niche. I think they're just finding different skill sets within their market, and different roles to provide. But I feel like we're in a good place. If everyone stays safe and things like that, the next few months are going to be really positive for the recruitment market, which is good for all of us. And it's nice to see it happening, really. So again, it is probably it's a 6 month question, isn't it? Because we're going to talk in November, and we might look back at this and be like, wow. We might look back at it and it'd be absolutely fascinating to see where we're at. So with something specific.
I agree. I think definitely, the next few months are going to be important, and it's good to hear positive noises coming from recruitment. That's good.
Another positive one, been super. Si, thanks for jumping on. I think that beach, now that the beach will be maybe a run for you later or something like that, or maybe it'll be it's Friday, so in the garden.
Definitely no, and it's been really good catching up, and have a great weekend yourself.
Yeah, cheers, Si. Thanks for joining us. Us, all of us. See you later. Cheers, Si. Bye.